Where does the Iran war go?
Oh, I think at this point in time, where we are is that President Trump is desperate to get a settlement. He understands the economic consequences of this war going on for a few more months with the straits closed would be disastrous. He's got to get a deal. And not just simply for economic reasons, but for political reasons as well. The midterm elections are coming up, and he runs the great danger that if the economy is tanked by November, that both the House and the Senate will be run by the Democrats, and he will get impeached and found to be guilty. So he wants to avoid that. And of course, he wants to avoid crashing the international economy for obvious reasons. So he's desperate. You can see it in his face, you can see it in his actions. The problem that he faces is that he can't get the Iranians to accept what is, from an American and an Israeli point of view, a favorable deal. The Iranians are now in the driver's seat. The Iranians started this war on February 28th of this year in a much weaker position than they are in now. They've actually done quite well in the war. As we saw when they attacked Israel a few days ago. Here you have a situation where Israel did not attack Iran. Iran felt that it was free to attack Israel. And Iran has made it clear it's more than willing to go up the escalation ladder with us and with Israel. They feel like they're in the driver's seat. So the Iranians won't cut President Trump any slack. They won't give him a deal that'll allow him to walk away from this. And again, he's under ever-present pressure on the economic front to shut this one down. At the same time, the Israelis will not cooperate with him either. What Trump really wants to do is cut a deal that basically accepts the fact that Iran won. He can't change Iran's position. And he's got to accept the fact that Iran has won and cut a sweetheart deal for Iran. But the Israelis, under no circumstances, want him to do this. And Bibi is resisting. So what's happening here is Trump is being pushed from one side by Bibi, and he's being pushed on the other side by the inexorable forces of the international economy as it reacts to the shutdown straits. Okay? So what's happening is that desperate Donald Trump is beginning to put pressure on the Israelis because he can't put pressure on the Iranians. He's putting pressure on the Israelis in ways that he's never done before. So he had this conversation where he said really terrible things about Prime Minister Netanyahu last Monday. This was on June 1st, right? And he's been really playing hardball with the Israelis in ways that we've not seen before.
Yeah, and that's actually good. Like, this is the first thing about Trump what I actually like, that he's telling Bibi Netanyahu that they have to listen to us. We don't have to listen to them. Like, they need us. We don't need them over there. But what I don't understand, why did he not do this like from the first day already, from like the start of this war? Why is he doing this now? It's a little bit too late, right? Because now we lost this whole war. Like, what were the benefits for us? Like, seriously, what did we accomplish? Almost nothing. It's so stupid. And like, you can see that Trump is so desperate at this point. Like, every day it's like taco Trump. Trump always chickens out, and he's telling us, oh, I have a deal with Iran, and Iran is telling us, like, we didn't even talk with you guys, so where are you talking about? So this literally means Trump started this war. He really thought that he was like this big guy, like the king of the world who can attack almost every country in the world, but now he just realized that he lost, and now he's almost like a little baby, like a little kid, like screaming and yelling because no one wants to listen to him anymore. He made a fool of himself, and now he just has to listen to Iran. That's just how it is. We lost this war. It was stupid. We are fighting this war on behalf of Israel. No one voted for this. And let me remind you that we elected a guy and he literally campaigned with no more wars. And now he started the war and he lost. He lost. What a clown. This is like disaster number 55 million of like this Trump administration. Like, what a joke.
And you can tell that Bibi Netanyahu understands this. He understands that Trump is desperate and that Trump is putting real pressure on him. Now, Netanyahu has resisted to a large extent, not completely, but to a large extent up to now. But I would maintain that what's likely to happen as we move forward is that that international economy is going to continue to put pressure on Trump. And because he can't put pressure on the Iranians who are in the driver's seat, he's going to put pressure on the Israelis in ways that he has never done before. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what is this growing conflict between the United States, and in particular Donald Trump, and Benjamin Netanyahu going to look like moving forward?
How do you think this conflict is resolved, and how quickly?
I think that basically you'll end up with something like a frozen conflict. I think that you want to understand that what President Trump is trying to do here is he's trying to get a ceasefire, right? And the idea is that if you can get a ceasefire for 30 or 60 days, the number changes, that after you get this ceasefire in place, you can then move to negotiations on things like the nuclear issue, reparations, the future of the overall package of sanctions, and so forth and so on. You want to understand here that we're not talking about settling the nuclear issue in these initial negotiations. The initial negotiations that are going on now are designed to set up a real ceasefire. In other words, we want to stop the shooting completely. And this includes in Lebanon, right? Stop the shooting completely. We want to open the strait, end the American blockade and the Iranian blockade. Open the strait. The Iranians want $24 billion in frozen assets given back to them.
Their money.
Their money. That's three. That's number three. And number four is the Iranians want sanctions taken off their sale of their oil on global markets. Okay. So those are the four things that have to happen to get a real ceasefire. But you notice in those four elements, you see no evidence of the nuclear issue or the question of overall sanctions or reparations or control of the strait moving forward.
Right.
All these issues will be settled in the second round. Now, my view is that you're probably going to get a real ceasefire at some point because that will open the straits. And opening the straits matters immensely to President Trump because of what the consequences are for the international economy. Now, when it comes to violating that ceasefire, the country that will violate it is Israel. But if Israel violates the ceasefire, and the Iranians react by shutting down the straits again, oh my God, we're back to the economic threat resurrecting itself. So I don't think Trump will allow the Israelis to wreck the ceasefire. They may try anyway, but I don't think so. Then the $64,000 question is, what will happen in the negotiations over the nuclear issue, control of the strait, reparations, overall sanctions package, and so forth and so on. And there I find it hard to believe that you're going to get a meaningful deal. Trump likes to say that, remember, this is Trump speaking, it took many years to negotiate the JCPOA. That was the original nuclear deal. That's what
the one he ran against and hated?
Yeah. And by the way, the one he walked away from.
I know.
In 2018. And he now says, you know, when people say, why don't you have a nuclear deal now? He says, you have to understand it takes many years to negotiate a nuclear deal. Of course, he's correct. But what you want to ask yourself is, what does
that's
that...
chutzpah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and by the way, this is a nightmare for the Israelis. I mean, if you want to think about what this war means for the Israelis, right? They were so much better off with the JCPOA. They were so much better off with the deal that they would have gotten on February 27th. Now they're in a situation where I don't think they're going to get a nuclear deal. I may be wrong. I don't think they're going to get a nuclear deal.
No, that's right, but they are responsible for this all by themselves. Like, maybe they should have first talked with Iran instead of like attacking them twice already in like 1 year. And now they are surprised that Iran doesn't trust us anymore. They didn't even trust us in the beginning. And now, do you really expect that they want to listen to us after we attacked them twice, after we like almost destroyed their whole country? Of course not. Like, it's so stupid. And by the way, I wouldn't even be surprised. Like, this whole deal, it's like so weak. Trump brought out like yesterday that we have this deal again. Like, this was the the 1 millionth time that Trump told us that he had a deal with Iran. Probably like in 2 days they will attack each other again, and like this, it's so weak. Like we are demanding something from Iran, and they will never agree to us, and Iran is demanding something from us, and we will never agree to that. So it's like so stupid. This whole deal with this ceasefire is based on nothing. And I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if like suddenly, like surprise, there will be like a false flag attack like in the near future, and we all know like what country will be responsible for that, because Israel, they don't want us to have a deal with Iran. They don't want a ceasefire. They want complete destruction of the state of Iran. They were so close, and now in the last minute, like we are the one who are actually destroying their whole plan. Because I told this before, the wet dream of Israel is almost like to completely destroy Iran, and they still didn't do this. So now they probably have to fight another war in the future. So I wouldn't be surprised if there will be a false flag like in the near future. Well, like what a surprise. But like what are we doing at this point? We started the war, and now we are begging Iran almost to like accept our deal, like that they want to listen to us. It's so stupid. We made a complete fool of ourselves, or actually Trump did. Trump made a fool of himself again. Trump made a fool of our country again. Well, another day, another disaster.
And the Iranians, as we both know, have a lot of highly enriched uranium, up to 60%. They can easily turn into weapons grade material and build the bomb. And the Israelis have just demonstrated that they don't have the capability. And we have just demonstrated that we don't have the capability to go in there and get that weapons grade material and shut down their nuclear enrichment capability forever. So it is possible that the Iranians may get a bomb.
Well, they're certainly going to get a more robust economy, and they certainly have cemented their place as like a legit regional power, which they sort of weren't fully before. I also think this changes their relationship with the GCC. I think some of the Gulf states, at least, were kind of shocked by the unwillingness or inability of the United States to protect them from Iranian attacks.
Actually act as a magnet for Iranian attacks.
Totally. And the whole deal was like, we'll send trillions to the United States in foreign direct investment, but like, you got to protect us.
Yeah.
We'll align with Israel. We'll sign the Abraham Accords. We'll do whatever you want, but you got to protect us. And we didn't. And so you can imagine a world where some of those 6 countries, anyway, become closer to Iran, like in 20 years than they were before. But certainly the world sees Iran as like a real country now, and they control the aperture at the end of the Persian Gulf. So like, how are they not way more powerful than they have been in our lifetimes?
Yeah. Well, as you know, we like to portray other countries as irrational and crazy.
Totally.
Second coming of Adolf Hitler.
Completely.
And
some crazed theocracy where they throw gays off buildings or something. It's
But the truth is, if you look at Iran today, and you look at the United States and Israel today, which of those 3 countries looks like the responsible stakeholder in the international system?
Yeah, of those 3 countries, which seems the least unreasonable? This country seems like it has more blasphemy laws than Iran sometimes. I mean, it's crazy the number of things you can't say in the United States because you can't. Certain words are literally verboten. Certain interpretations of history are crimes. Those aren't blasphemy laws? Yes, they are. That's just true.
But there's much truth in that. But the point is, if you're another country on the planet and you're looking at those 3 countries, Israel, the most hated country in the world, by the way, according to recent polls, and the United States, which is not far from the bottom, and Iran, which country, right, looks like it is the most responsible in terms of its foreign policy, right? And it's the Iranians, right? And it's the Americans and the Israelis who both basically look like they're rogue states, just running around the world, invading countries, causing genocide, and so forth and so on. The damage that has been done to Israel's reputation is just off the charts. It's very hard for me to believe how much damage Israel has done to itself, with help from the lobby, as I've emphasized in our conversation here. But also the United States, the damage that we've done to ourselves. Right. And a lot of people will say this is due to Trump. Trump has contributed to this for sure. But look at the Biden administration. It was the Biden administration that supported the genocide in Gaza from the get-go. It was the Biden administration that's principally responsible for what's happened in Ukraine. The Biden administration could have prevented the war in Ukraine.
Of course, they
And in
wanted
fact, it wanted it. Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. And probably many Americans, they will agree with him on this one, because I think many people, they are so tired and annoyed of the fact that we are like constantly policing the world, telling other countries what they can do and what they can do. Why are we doing this? I think we are also not the best example in the world either, aren't we? I mean, like, take a look at our past. We also did some horrible things. Take a look at all these wars in the past, not so long ago, and still we think that we can decide for other countries what is good for them or not. Leave them alone. Like, what are we doing now in Iran? We are fighting this war in favor of another country as well. Like, did people, they voted for Trump because they wanted to have like more America first politics, not like all these foreign politics? Like, what are we doing there? It's so stupid. Can we not just have like one guy who focuses on this country, like, instead of like destroying other countries, maybe like build our own nation? It's so stupid. We always think that we have the right to like invade other countries, to tell other countries what they have to do, to like be involved in other countries. We are not. We are not. And by the way, I think we as long as we still have so many problems here in America, I think it's good to maybe like solve these problems first, and then later, if we have some spare time, then maybe we can try to like police the world. But now we're busy with almost everyone else in the world, but not with ourselves anymore. And this is not where the people voted for. The people voted for America first. We're doing now almost completely the opposite, fighting a war on behalf of Israel. How is that America first, like destroying the worldwide economy? How is that America first? People, like, they can barely pay anything now because it's so expensive, and it only will be more expensive. Hopefully, like with this deal from yesterday, hopefully now everything will be fine in the future, that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened like next week. But I don't know. I'm not even sure about that, because like this deal was not stable at all. Like, they can break this deal like every minute again. Because again, why would Iran trust us? They don't trust us. So, and why would they even listen to us? Because we invaded them twice already in like 1 year. I think they have all the rights to like not trust us anymore. And I think we have to listen to them at this point instead of that they have to listen to us. Like, the funny thing is, Trump always thinks that like we won this war, that we did like a great job. We completely obliterated them. Dude, we lost. We are almost like their little dog now. We have to listen to them instead of that they have to listen to us. So I think, I don't know what's going to happen. We will see this in the future. But this is so true. Like, it's actually ridiculous that we always say about other countries, we are acting that all these other countries, like Iran, for example, that they are like North Korea. Meanwhile, sometimes I get like North Korean vibes here in the United States of America. Like, it's not that we are like the best of the world as well, that we can tell other countries, all right, you have to listen to us. Look at how amazing we are. That's just not the case. I wish that was the case. I wish I could tell you that that's the case. But it isn't. It isn't. But again, guys, this is just my opinion. I'm very curious about like your opinion. What do you think? Do you agree with Professor John Mearsheimer? Do you agree with Tucker? Do you think like we should stop this war? Do you think that President Donald J. Trumpstein should be impeached because of this war? I'm very curious about your opinion. It's very important to say. I read all comments. I even try to reply to some of your comments, so please let me know. As well, guys, last but not least, if you like this video, please hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. If you really like these kind of videos, consider subscribing. I would appreciate it even more. And then you make sure you don't miss anything. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.